Final score here in Bryant-Denny Stadium, Texas 34, Alabama 24. Now for Alabama, can't help but just have a sentiment, I believe, of just kind of some shock. Because going into this game, this is typically the kind of game that Alabama finds a way to push through and win at the very end, or they just straight up dominate in front of the entire country and remind everybody that, oh yeah, they're Alabama, oh yeah, Nick Saban's their head coach, oh yeah, they have some of the best players in the country. And it wasn't that you didn't see the talent, wasn't that you didn't see the ability from this team, but the thing that surprised me the most was just everything we thought about Alabama going into this game. We saw it in flashes, but we didn't see it consistently. Like, Alabama was the team that had issues physically at the end of the game. Like, we saw Texas be able to kind of assert their will at the end of that thing. We saw it early from Alabama. We saw Jason McClellan just running and making a whole lot of noise. Like there's noise behind me right now, making a whole lot of noise, getting north and south, and that kind of felt like, okay, this may kind of be the game plan right here for Nick Saban and company. This whole Tommy Rees offense, this new formula, this is what it's going to look like. That's going to eventually wear on Texas. But instead, in the second half, we saw Texas just kind of get stronger. We saw Texas kind of bow up. I mean, the rushing numbers come out to about the same, but Texas was a team with 5 sacks. And so a lot of people, I think Nick Saban included now, are assessing that quarterback situation. There were people maybe a little bit louder saying they need to make a switch with Jalen Milroe. Here's what I'll say with Jalen Milroe. Man, there were times where it was bad. Like, you saw those 2 interceptions. They were 2 bad interceptions. They weren't just tip passes that were kind of fluky. Like, no, he threw the ball to the other football team. Okay, you can't have that. Now, there's also some context there. There was a lot of low snaps he was dealing with all night. Was he extremely accurate? No, he was like 14 for 27. You don't love that. But there were also a lot of plays that I think only Jalen Milroe makes that kept you in that football game. So as bad as it was at times, I think there was also a lot of really good plays where he just spins out, breaks contain, picks up a first down, picks up 7 yards for you. And so I think the decision now for Alabama, if there is a decision that's being made, if there's an evaluation they're having right now, is, okay, we have what Jalen Milroe does that's special versus these turnovers that are going to ultimately sink us. So for Jalen Milroe, like I said, a lot of plays where he's like, man, that's the guy, that's why he's our quarterback. There's also a lot of plays where like, man, we can't expect to give Quinn Ewers and company more ammunition, more possessions, and feel good about our chances to win this game. So that was the confusing thing. Also, the confusing thing for me, watching this Alabama defense, felt like they really just couldn't hit the curveball. And when I say that, you saw Texas do 2 things. They motioned quite a bit. They shifted quite a bit from, tight formations out to empty, and they went quickly. And we didn't see Alabama handle those extremely well. There were times they were misaligned. We saw coverage bust, and that's not something we've really come to expect from an Alabama football team, especially Alabama secondaries. But the last couple of years now, especially last year in this game, it was a little bit questionable. And again, it's not a matter of good players. I don't have any doubts about Jalen Key. I don't have any doubts about Kool-Aid McKinstry. Like, these are good football players. But for whatever reason, they couldn't get out of their own way tonight and couldn't find a way to be able to put up enough resistance in the pass game, as Quinn Ewers went for 350 and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. So the thing now for Alabama, yes, this is disappointing. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it hurts. You never want to lose, especially not at the crib. But I want us to kind of all take a beat here. Even though this is frustrating, every single thing that Alabama wants to do this season is right in front of them. You can still go win the SEC. You go win the SEC, I promise you get into the college football playoff. Still have a chance to win a national title. Like, all those things are very much so attainable. Now, that climb becomes a little bit more steep after you drop a game like this to Texas. But even so, man, there's a lot of runway here. This wasn't a loss that happened second to last week of the season. This happened week 2. So now for Alabama, it's all about recalibrating, resetting, finding a way to get back to neutral. So that's the first thing for Alabama, finding a way to kind of get back to neutral, understand all your goals are in front of them. Now for us as the college football public, there's going to be a lot of headlines saying Saban's done, Alabama's not Alabama anymore. A lot of just kind of crazy things are going to be said. I want us to understand that it's week 2. So as much as people are going to print this headline, it doesn't make it any less true that it's week 2. And we all understand this. Teams aren't finished products in week 2. Same for Texas. Great win for Texas, but they're also only in week 2. Like, they still have a lot of runway left in their season. They still have to take care of business. So for Alabama, I want us to understand they have, 1, the best coach in the game. 2, they are as talented, if not more talented, than every other team they're going to play the rest of the regular season. And so when you look at what they have left, it's not going to be a matter of can Alabama do it. It's a matter of will they do it? Will they execute? Will they be able to kind of fix those things that were self-inflicted wounds? And that's nothing to take away from Texas tonight. Texas did everything required to win the game. They outcompeted Alabama. But Alabama probably feels a little bit today like, hey, we did not play our best football game by any stretch of the imagination. So going forward now, Bama is not done. Saban's not lost his touch. Lost a football game to a really good football team in Texas. Now what do you do going forward? How do they respond? I'll say this. I've seen how Nick Saban operates. I think we all have, just by nature of the teams he's put together. I would be very, very slow to sell my Nick Saban stock and sell my Alabama stock, especially after having a get-right kind of loss, kind of a wake-up call like this. Something to keep an eye on. Make sure you subscribe. College football every single day. Appreciate y'all, man. Met a lot of great people here in Bryant-Denny Stadium. A lot of people out tailgating that were around just the campus as a whole. We kind of walked around and felt the buzz, man. A lot of great people that follow this channel that are subscribed here from the Alabama fan base. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Make sure you're locked in right here. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.